Tonight on NewsVision, the National College Rankings for 2024 have been released. Find out where the University of Miami landed.
I feel like it's kind of upsetting because the acceptance rate has also dropped, whereas usually when acceptance rates drops, you would think that the school would be higher up.
Plus, with the 2024 elections nearing, it is more important than ever to register to vote. We will tell you how one club on campus is making it their mission to help students register for the polls.
Voting is important because it's the way that you can get your voice heard. So we're really excited that we're able to have that sort of environment here on campus.
And later on, one iconic Miami nightlife location has welcomed its last set of guests. These stories and a lot more on tonight's episode of NewsVision. It starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to NewsVision. I'm Melanie Lowe.
And I'm Harvey Duplock. Thank you for joining us. Breaking news tonight, Rupert Murdoch, who assembled a media empire that includes Fox News, is stepping down as chairman of Fox Corporation and News Corp. His son, Lachlan Murdoch, will become sole chairman of both companies. The elder Murdoch made the announcement on Thursday in a memo to employees. He wrote, "The time is right for me to take on different roles, knowing that we have truly talented teams and a passionate principal leader in Lachlan who will become sole chairman of both companies." The 92-year-old media mogul is stepping down just months after Fox Corporation paid $787 million in a defamation settlement with Dominion Voting Systems. That suit was related to lies Fox promoted on its air about the 2020 presidential election. The company faces another $2.7 billion lawsuit from Dominion competitor Smartmatic.
This week, the U.S. News and World Report released its annual college and university rankings. These rankings are determined largely on academic quality and graduate outcomes. However, other factors are taken into consideration, such as campus culture, strength in majors, and financial aid. This year, the University of Miami fell from number 55 to number 67 in the nation. The University of Florida ranked number 28, while Florida State University landed at number 53, and Florida International University is at number 124. Many UM students and parents have expressed their disappointment at the university's lower ranking. UM President Julio Frank released a statement to the Board of Trustees that said, quote, "University rankings, as we've long agreed, are a means of driving success and continuous improvement, not an end in and of themselves."
I feel like it's kind of upsetting because the acceptance rate has also dropped, whereas usually when acceptance rates drops, you would think that the school would be higher up there in the rankings. And it was super hard for me to get into this school, so being at a low ranking is kind of upsetting.
I'm pretty surprised. I think we're a much better school than 67 shows, and looking at some of the other schools that are ahead of us, it's kind of shocking as well.
I still don't regret it though. Like, even though it fell, I just love this whole school. I love it even though the rankings are bad right now. It's gonna go up soon, I know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. I do agree with her 100%.
The Cosford Cinema on the UM Coral Gables campus is hosting a new series this fall. And to kick off Hispanic Heritage Month, famous singer and UM alum Gloria Estefan returned to campus for a conversation and screening of A Young Frankenstein. Isabella Morales has the story.
The city of Miami is home to many celebrities, some of the biggest names in music like Enrique Iglesias and actors such as Sylvester Stallone and The Rock. They all call the 305 home. Among these celebrities is singer-songwriter Gloria Estefan, a graduate of the University of Miami and one of the top 100 best-selling music artists.
I just remember wonderful things. I love learning. The school was excellent. And every time I come back here, I'm blown away by how it's changed. But it's all beautiful memories for the youth.
And one place on campus is extra special to the Estefans. The Bale Cosford Cinema is not only home to great movies, but it reminds Gloria of her first date with Emilio.
New movies coming out, Young Frankenstein. I'd love to go see it. Let's go. He goes, great, let's go, let's go. So we go to the movie, and when we walk outside, he looks at me and he goes, You know, I didn't find it that scary. I knew I was going to marry that man that day because I looked at him and I go, what parts did you find scary? Because it's a comedy.
The cost for cinema has certainly changed since 1974, but one thing has remained the same. It is a place that brings people together. Managed by Renee Rodriguez, the Cosford has recently started a new initiative to increase attendance. It is called Watching Movies with Blank, and this past weekend, students, faculty, and guests had the chance to watch the classic film Young Frankenstein with Gloria Estefan.
The idea was to choose people who aren't known from the film industry and are known for other things, like Gloria Estefan, who is known for her music, and it intrigued me to know which movie she would choose and to hear about her relationship with the movie.
Besides enjoying the movie with attendees, Gloria Estefan also has a message for students.
Enjoy every minute, learn as much as you can, involve yourself in as many activities as are good without, messing up your academic record, and just have a great time.
The Cosford Cinema will host filmmaker Kareem Tabash on October 7th to show The Birdcage. Isabella Morales, UMTV.
The University of Miami is a school with a wide range of students from all over the world. To celebrate these different cultures, student organizations host events to share their culture with the whole student body. One of those celebrations is happening on campus right now. Reporter Billy Brightman is live at Lakeside Patio to tell us more. Billy?
Guys, tonight we are celebrating Haitian students with a dance workshop here at the Lakeside Patio. United Black Students and Planet Creole are hosting this event to teach students about compa, a versatile style of dance popularized in Haiti, and other dance styles of Miami. The celebration of this combination of cultures will start very soon and continue until 9:50 tonight. So be sure you come out to learn about Haitian culture hands-on. Also, September 15th kicked off Hispanic Heritage Month. Last week, the Association of Latino Professionals for America hosted a cooking workshop where they taught students about how they like to eat.
I think one of the reasons that it's really important to present that is because a lot of people that are going to the University of Miami are actually not Latino and not exposed to the Hispanic culture that Miami offers. And so I think one great way to introduce people to that is by having an event like this where we can teach people how to cook, teach people a lot about our food, because for Latinos, our food is our culture.
No problem, I got
Students cooked ground beef, chopped cilantro, and made a delicious meal to celebrate their cultural diversity. Hispanic Heritage Month celebrations will continue into October, so make sure you take the time to celebrate the cultures that are shared with you. Live from the Lakeside Patio, I'm Billy Brightman, UMTV.
Thank you, Billy. And that's not the only celebration UM students are participating in. They have also launched an all-out culture bash to start the school year. On Friday, United Black Students hosted its annual Culture Bash, an event held for cultural groups on campus to share their plans for the school year. Students lined up for info sessions, food and live performances in the Shalala Ballroom. And many were excited to share their expectations of things to come.
I think by hosting events like this and bringing different communities together, even from the Black community with different Black identities, I think that by hosting events like this, we are bringing people together and innately creating a bigger and stronger community for it.
Student leaders and artists took center stage for the night's events, building community ties and finding the right tune for connecting with a diverse campus.
One Florida transgender rights law is being challenged in court, but it will still be enforced during the legal process. The law was signed by Governor Ron DeSantis in May. It bans any transgender treatment for minors, and it makes transgender adults give in-person consent with a doctor. Judge Robert Hinkle blocked the law's enforcement on minors, but ruled that adults should still follow it until the case is resolved. Florida has passed a series of LGBTQ restricting legislation over the past few years, and it is taking a toll on the LGBTQ adults that call the state home.
Florida didn't used to be this kind of scary place, and now people are like leaving. And like I'm applying for grad school and I'm not applying in Florida. Like I don't want to go stay here.
Half of the states in the country have laws against care for transgender minors, but Florida is one of the only ones with laws against care for adults.
The 2024 elections are a little over a year away, and the University of Miami's Get Out the Vote Club is trying to encourage students to fill out their ballots, some for the very first time. Ainsley Vetter joins us to tell us how they're getting the message across to students.
On Friday, Get Out the Vote celebrated Constitution Day, a holiday commemorating the signing of the Constitution back in 1787. Many students don't actually use their right to vote, so we're going to take a look at that today. Whether you're a voting veteran or seeing a ballot for the first time, the UM organization called Get Out the Vote wants students to use their democratic rights. They tabled at Lakeside Stage on Friday for Constitution Day, a day celebrating the signing of the Constitution, which gives Americans the right to vote. The event gave students the opportunity to register. Sophomore Galila Ibrahim has been following the 2024 race, and she decided Constitution Day was the perfect day to register for the very first time.
I see a lot of the candidates, to say the least, are a bit volatile. And my philosophy is, if I'm going to have an issue with it, then I at least need to try and contribute, so that way I have a right, I guess, to be upset with how it turns out.
The tabling event gave students the opportunity to learn about voting resources, encouraging people like Ibrahim to sign up.
Voting is important because it's the way that you can get your voice heard. So we're really excited that we're able to have that sort of environment here on campus and just be able to connect the voting community with the UM community.
The Pew Research Center reports that only about 2/3 of the voting eligible population voted in the 2020 election, and it turns out many UM students haven't registered to vote at all.
I find a lot of interest in, I found that a lot of students are interested in registering to vote.
To register to vote. So when Ibrahim decided she was ready to register, she was able to do it all right on campus. When students arrive at the Get Out the Vote booth, they'll be given this form right here. All they have to do is fill it out, and with a few strokes of a pen, they are registered to make their voice heard. The booth also offered students the chance to change their voter registration to Florida.
I wanted to register in Miami because I feel like my voice is going to be more effective and vote will be more effective here than it will be in Illinois, because I'm a Democrat and usually Illinois goes blue.
But for Ibrahim, Constitution Day had an even deeper meaning because not everyone gets the same rights as American citizens.
I'm Egyptian, so we currently have a dictator in office, so it means a lot to me that I am able in this country to vote and have a say in who's in office.
Without being informed, many would never have their voices heard. This is why Get Out the Vote holds this event and more throughout the school year.
Is there anything you need me to take back up?
If you're 18 years old and a citizen of the United States, then you qualify to register to vote. There's 2 voting sites located right here on campus, and Get Out the Vote is always here to provide you with any voting resources. Reporting for UMTV, I'm Ainsley Vetter.
Thank you, Ainsley. The third Republican debate is reportedly coming to Miami in early November. This will follow the Milwaukee debate and the upcoming debate in Simi Valley, California. Former President Trump is leading the polls, but says he's unlikely to participate in the GOP debates. This gives the candidates a chance to win over voters, with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis getting a potential home court advantage. The Republican National Committee has not announced the criteria for the Miami debate.
Time for us to take a short break now, but when NewsVision returns, we will tell you about the newest stop on the Bright Line train that is giving students the chance to travel to the happiest place on earth. Details when we return. Stay with us.
Owen, let's talk for a second.
Hi, Ellen. Come on in.
When you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
It'll come to you.
It won't.
We had a lot to learn about each other. A lot. Hey, looks good. Things were changing so quickly. We didn't know what the future would hold. Any of us. I just wish you felt more at home now. But we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
Thank you for staying with NewsVision. Starting tomorrow, students will have a new way to get to Disney World from Miami. Regina Potenza joins us now from Brickell, live with updates. Regina, tell us more.
Thanks, guys. I'm live in front of the Brightline station in Brickell in Miami. We're starting tomorrow. Passengers will be able to travel directly from Miami to Orlando. The trip will take about 3.5 hours and will cost $79 round trip. Brightline opened in 2018 with a singular line between Miami and West Palm Beach and has since expanded. Brightline also is working on another line in the west between Southern California and Las Vegas. So, is Brightline the future of transportation in the United States? And what does this mean for high-speed rails? Well, Brightline is actually only the second ever high-speed rail in the U.S., and the first one is Amtrak, which is owned by the federal government. This means Brightline is the first privately owned high-speed railroad in the United States. They're already looking to expand out west, and they're looking to expand in Florida, looking at places like Tampa and Jacksonville. For UMTV, I'm Regina Potenza.
Thanks, Regina. The U.S. auto workers' strike has hit the one-week mark. The union's unprecedented walkout against General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis started with the two sides far apart. In the past 48 hours, talks have resumed, with the UAW meeting with Ford and GM Wednesday and Stellantis Thursday. But despite the seemingly positive development, there's a red line ahead and approaching quickly.
If we have to strike more, close more, then we'll do that.
The United Auto Workers Union says their walkouts will expand if the nation's three largest automakers don't give them a better contract proposal by noon Friday.
I would like to see fair wages for everybody. I would say most of these employees probably live paycheck to paycheck.
Higher wages, 40% higher over 4 years, one of several union demands. The UAW is currently striking at 3 plants, representing each of the big 3 U.S. auto brands. But the threat of Friday's deadline is already having ripple effects. Stellantis, which is meeting with UAW leadership Thursday, is temporarily laying off some non-union workers at their Toledo, Ohio machining plant. GM and Ford are doing the same at some of their other facilities. Those on the picket lines know it's not just auto workers feeling the impact.
I would like to see us get back to work so those other suppliers get back to work and uplift this economy.
The strike fallout also hitting auto industry suppliers. U.S. Steel in Granite City, Illinois laid off several hundred workers this week.
I've had grown men crying in my office that don't know how they're going to provide for their families. It's very difficult. And I know it's business to them, but it's personal to us.
For now, those business talks continue as the deadline clock keeps ticking. Non-striking workers are being affected, with General Motors and Ford already announcing temporary layoffs. The strike could also make buying cars more expensive and cause impacted states to see a decrease in tax revenue.
To kick off the diversity breakthrough mixer, business professionals sat down with students to discuss their focus on creating a diverse workplace. Students were able to connect with employers from various companies who were specifically focused on hiring interns and full-time employees from diverse populations. Some companies that were in attendance include Teach for America, Estee Lauder, and Morgan Stanley, and more. About 100 students attended the mixer, creating a more casual setting for building meaningful connections with recruiters across various industries. The event served as a lead into last night's Job and Internship Expo, where the entire student body was welcome to attend. Now, Melanie, that seemed like a great event, but I want to know is if we're going to have a great weekend weather-wise. I know it's been raining a lot.
It's been raining, which hasn't been great for my hair at all. But our weatherman, Quinn Davidson, is here to give us all the latest in Florida weather. Quinn, what's happening this weekend?
Melanie, I do have some good news for you and your hair. Tomorrow there is a slight drop in our humidity, but for now our current temperatures across South Florida, some stations are reporting the 80s, but here in Fort Lauderdale and Miami in the 70s, we had that rain come through and cool down our atmosphere. Look at those storms pushing off the coast, the very strong one that just went through Fort Lauderdale and Broward County, but the majority of the rain here in South Florida is light to heavy, but the threat of localized flooding, gusty winds, and lightning still does occur. With that drier air mass coming through with that that cold front, we have a 40% chance of rain on Friday. But again, those bumping of chances go back up to 70 Saturday through the beginning of the work week. Looking at our future radar, this wet and soggy stretch we've experienced is all thanks to this stationary front that is just parked over South Florida. However, this does change eventually as that cold front moves through, and the radar is not showing many storms on Friday. But eventually this does change as our winds become a more southerly flow, which is going to introduce more tropical moisture into our region, bringing a higher rain chance Saturday and Sunday. Luckily for us here in South Florida, we are celebrating fall this Saturday at 2:50 in the morning, and Mother Nature is granting us with not one, but a 2-degree temperature drop from average. The forecast high is 87 degrees with an average high this time of year around 89, but hey, we will take it. And looking at our 7-day forecast, we see those lower temperatures in the 80s, upper 80s, excuse me, on Friday and Saturday, and then a stormy start to the work week. Harvey?
Thank you, Quinn. A popular social spot for many Miami hurricanes has closed down for now. The wharf has several locations, including Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and now it has shut down its Miami venue. Many people came out for its closing party held this past weekend. The Riverside Bar holds a special place in the heart of many people living down here. Developers have big plans for the area with hopes to build a hotel that includes clubs and restaurants. It's expected to open sometime in 2026.
NewsVision will take a short break now, but coming up, the Hurricanes are on the road this weekend facing Temple on Saturday. Plus, Canes Hoops makes a big splash in recruiting earlier this week. All this and more, next. Hello and welcome to Sports. I'm Manny Nacarado. The Miami Hurricanes faced off against Bethune-Cookman last Thursday in Week 3 of the college football season. Let's take a look at those highlights. Miami already up with an early lead, 7-0 over Bethune-Cookman. Tyler Van Dyke snaps the ball, and that's A.J. Allen, the transfer, for the touchdown. One of two he had on the day. The transfer getting some nice touches for the Hurricanes. Now threatening to score again, Tyler Van Dyke throws a screen pass to Jacoby George, gets a block, and finds the end zone. Miami up big against Bethune-Cookman early, and again, here's Don Chaney up the gut for the touchdown. Miami's leading rusher getting in the end zone. Miami rolling over Bethune-Cookman at this point. Tyler Van Dyke dropping back and throws an absolute rope to Brashard Smith for the touchdown. Miami's going to run away with this one over Bethune-Cookman with a final score of 48-7. And while the Hurricanes have earned wins on the field, men's basketball got a win even before tip-off this fall. Five-star shooting guard Jaleel Bethea committed to Miami yesterday, bringing another high-level recruit to Coral Gables. The 6'4" guard is the highest recruit to ever commit to UM, according to 247 Sports. Bethea comes in as the number 7 ranked recruit in the 2024 class and second best shooting guard in the country. Bethea chose Miami over schools like Kansas and Villanova, bringing the Hurricanes to the 3rd ranked recruiting class in 2024. After a magical Final Four run for Miami last season, they look to reload and make another deep run in the NCAA tournament. Coach Mario Cristobal addressed the media on Tuesday about Miami's upcoming game against Temple. The Hurricanes are 20-point favorites and have won all 13 games in the series, but staying focused is what Cristobal says is the key to the team's success on Saturday.
They've got a really good staff. I mean, these guys are well coached. They play hard. I mean, they get 11 hats of the football on defense, and on offense, they'll try to knock you back and finish you, you know, and if you're just kind of loafing around downfield, you're going to catch one, you know, right underneath the chin. So these guys, my memories with them, obviously we got a chance to play against them, and again, just really, always really good football players, always.
And finally, the Hurricanes also on the pitch against Clemson right now at Cobb Stadium. That's all I have in sports for tonight. Now back to you, Melanie.
All right, Manny, thank you. When we come back on NewsVision, Off the Wire is having its first show of the semester in Studio C. Doors open at 8:15 and the show starts at 8:30. You don't want to miss it. NewsVision will be right back.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is me? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes, look at that. You even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you have to get it trending. Right, Backpack Kid?
Let's do it.
First, invite your kid to do the vape talk. Let's try this. All right.
Why is he? Every year, a worldwide initiative to make our streets greener comes to Miami. Kayla Butter has the story.
Once a year, parking spots around the world get transformed into something just a little bit more green. The initiative that started 18 years ago is called Parking Day. Its goal is to temporarily repurpose curbside parking spots into public parks and social spaces. The project takes place in big cities all over the globe, including Miami.
Streets are the biggest public asset we all have. We should change our minds about streets are being only for transportation. Streets are for people. Streets are for animals. Streets are places that we can occupy and spend time.
Ibru has been involved in Parking Day for over a decade and is the advisor of FIU's architecture club called the American Society of Landscape Architects. Members of the club hope to create a greener Miami, but their larger goal involves the younger generation, which is why the club's parking spot was located right across the street from George Washington Carver Elementary School.
Elementary school students, when they are coming out from the class or going into the classroom, have the opportunity to actually see and interact with our students, and we have the opportunity to give some environmental education and tell them about the importance of landscape architects and landscape architecture.
Parking Day was created in 2005 in San Francisco and is now a global project advocating for greener, safer, and more equitable streets.
There's so much opportunity in space that we take it for granted sometimes, and I just hope that it grows and more people get involved. You know, that's my goal.
Kayla Butter, UMTV.
And finally, one alligator that has been rescued in Central Florida earlier this week has found its forever home. But this alligator is different than the rest of its species. The female alligator is missing the top half of its jaw after what officials suspect was a close encounter with a boat propeller. They said the reptile had no chance of surviving in the wild on her own with the extent of her injury. So Gatorland, which is a theme park and wildlife preserve, also known as Alligator Paradise, welcomed the jawless gator to provide her love and care. The park is now asking the public on social media to help give the gator a name. Well, you know, it should be named Jawless, kind of like Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
I think that totally fits, Harvey.
Yes. Anyways, that's all for this week's episode of NewsVision. Thank you so much for joining us.
Join us again next week at the same time. Have a good night.